Hi, Leo.
Hey, Albert, can you hear me?
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Um, great idea on the hack. Let me try to do that right now. Let's see. This way people go see you on the live stream.
Sweet. And yeah, I'm in the Twitter space as well. I assume you just want me talking in here though, correct?
That's correct. But I mean, if you're a speaker there, put it on mute. It helps drive the people there.
Sweet.
So yeah, if you can request speaker there, um, people bring up on stage.
Will do.
Thank you. Just gonna ping them right now. All right, are you up there? Looks like it. Boom. All right. Excellent. Thanks for coming. It's an honor. I know you're super busy with the Ordinals show, and you recently launched the Ord.io, which is amazing. But before we get into all that, can you sort of like just quickly sum up how you got here, how you got here, and how you started the Ordinals show, what that's all about, and finally, and what is Ord.io, right? And why are you doing it?
Oh boy, that's a lot there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just an intro. That's just an intro to warm people up.
I'll try to blow through this here. So back when I was I think it was my senior year of high school, I heard my computer science teacher talk about Bitcoin. And in college that freshman year, the kind of craziness, it was like 2014, Bitcoin went way up, and I was very intrigued by it, and just bought a few Bitcoins and watched the price, checked the price every day for a few years, and kind of just slowly got into crypto that way. And ultimately, Ethereum came out, and that was really like interesting to me. And as someone who was interested in like software development, just like that intrigued me a lot, right? It seemed to me at the time that like all the developers were interested in Ethereum. Vitalik was creating such a great environment for developers. All you could do with your Bitcoin was hold it in your wallet and, talk, I guess, about holding it in your wallet. And, that's how, that was my mindset for a very long time. So I've been mostly over in, Ethereum land, played CryptoKitties in 2017 and just really went down the NFT rabbit hole. And about 2 years ago, quit my job as a software developer and just basically focused on NFTs full time. So when I met Casey last summer in a Discord and then got to be on a Twitter space with him in basically fall of last year, he basically just mentioned, he was talking about this thing he was working on called Ordinal Theory. He hadn't figured out the inscriptions part yet. And that was really interesting. Like, I collect the old NFTs on Bitcoin. I'm interested in the very old early NFTs on Counterparty, the rare Pepe's, the Spells of Genesis from 2015 and 2016. So I was already intrigued with, NFTs on Bitcoin, whereas most people really hadn't been at the time. So that was how I ended up meeting Casey. And yeah, it pretty much, late January happened, early February happened. Ordinals blow up in a massive way. And, it was kind of clear to me that this was something really special happening, and NFTs were going to be coming to Bitcoin in a major way. And it's become more clear over the last 2 months that, Web3 is coming to Bitcoin, right? It's not just NFTs. I think there's basically a renewed activity of developers, of people using, I guess, what I'll refer to as dApps, just basically use cases on Bitcoin other than, holding and transacting a currency, right? There's many potential use cases for blockchain technologies. And now those that have mostly been on other chains are coming to Bitcoin. So that's been really exciting for me for the last 2 months. And I've just been focusing on trying my absolute best to keep up with all of the excitement. It's what a wonderful time to be in this kind of blossoming ecosystem on Bitcoin. The very kind of newer culture that's emerging here. And, I think it's awesome that you're doing the Bitcoin Olympics to kind of catalyze that developer movement. This is really special. As far as Ord.io, this just came about as an idea of, hey, I love going to ordinals.com and scrolling through, there's thousands, tens of thousands of inscriptions that are getting inscribed and etched onto Bitcoin every single day. I thought it was really cool to just go and like browse through, like, what are people inscribing? There's something interesting to me about the fact that you have to spend $5, $10, $20 to store something on Bitcoin. I can give all sorts of crazy examples of, this is not just images, right? People are storing MP3 files, MP4 files, PDFs, they're actually storing code on chain. So there's full websites and video games that you can play, really cool stuff. And this just fascinated me. And everybody, in the space was like mostly focused on the financial side. And as like a kind of investor collector myself, I also am intrigued by that. But I was more so intrigued here by the inscription part, not necessarily the ownership token financial part, which is the ordinal or the SAT. So that just basically got me thinking, like, how can I create a tool to make this experience for myself of like browsing ordinals.com better so that I can surface the coolest inscriptions, not necessarily because of some financial aspect of it selling for a lot or there being some, big community or something, but just because it's like a neat inscription. It's objectively like, this is pretty badass that somebody inscribed this on Bitcoin. So Ord.io is essentially a tool you can go to, and it's essentially an explorer with some like social crowdsourcing features. So, when you land on the homepage, it's very much like Reddit or Hacker News. So every inscription can be voted on. So you connect your wallet. If you hold, an ordinal in your X1st or your Hero wallet, you can start upvoting on inscriptions. And the ones that get the most upvotes in a short amount of time are trending on the homepage. And you can just kind of go and hopefully, have a fun experience just checking out the coolest and latest and greatest inscriptions that are happening. And that's basically the core of how that started. And we're now building it out into really trying to be the best place for you to search and basically peel back the layers on ordinal inscriptions. There's the surface level, which is, hey, yes, there's an image you can look at. That's great. Yes, there's an artist of that image. Like, these are all things that people are familiar with when thinking about collecting NFTs. But with ordinals, there's these other layers of inscription number and SAT rarity and file size and these really interesting layers to the collecting that I want to do a much better job of surfacing because I think it is something that people care about and that's important. And I just basically myself want to see these things. So I'm almost just building this because I want the tools to be able to check all of these things. So yeah, the goal is to basically build a really powerful explorer for the collector.
No, that's amazing, Leonidas. And the really refreshing thing is that there's a very interactive and a social aspect to the way you're designing this interface. I think that's what's sorely needed in the NFT and the collectibles trading space, because right now it's sort of like just a marketplace, but if someone could crack that code to make it interactive and social and bringing people together, I think that's going to be like the 2.0 or maybe even the 3.0 for this space. Agreed. So looking forward to that. But before we start unpacking more Ord.io, which is super exciting, did I hear correctly that you said you're in high school in 2014?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I graduated in 2014. That's correct.
Okay. Super. So this is and it's quite amazing that when you're in high school, you're already playing around with in the crypto and the Web3 space, right? And so the reason why I want to underscore that is, this is not to give you pressure, but it's just a pattern that I've seen throughout the world. A lot of great entrepreneurs get started very, very early, like in their teens or early 20s. And if you look at this disruptive space, like people above 30, they definitely have like as an entrepreneur, they definitely have a much easier time of reaching cash flow positive, right? And building a successful startup or a business. But if we look at the disruptive companies, 90% are under 35, maybe 99 are under 30. A lot of them are under 25. Like we don't have to talk about Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg or the Google founders, right? Or Steve Jobs or even Elon Musk or Charles Branson, right? Of Virgin Airlines. They all started actually in their teens. And the reason why these disruptive, I was investigating this. the reason why there's a very high, like if it's a disruptive technology or disruptive product, right? There's a very high chance that these founders are relatively younger because my theory is that they sort of grew up in their formative years with this technology, right? So I'm really excited to, I don't know, what do you think about that? Let's pause there for a second. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to the little last bit you mentioned there, which is that, there's something about a child's brain developing and having an environment where they get to experience and use a certain technology that just allows them to have their brain develop in such a way that, like, my brain couldn't develop today. Like a kid that's, 8 years old that's talking to ChatGPT, like my brain is probably never going to be able to have the connection with ChatGPT the way that 8-year-old is when they're like 25 or 27 or something, right? So yeah, I mean, there's definitely something to that. I haven't boiled down the numbers to like back up what you're saying exactly. It sounds like it's kind of in line. I also know examples of like, people in their 40s and 50s starting like incredible companies as well. So, I don't know the hard numbers there, but I think there's definitely in technology something to being in your brain development phase and getting to use a technology that's very important and probably leads to some sort of innovation happening.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be very, like I'm pretty interested to hear your thoughts, right, on you talked about some forward thinking statements. So let's just say, like, what's your vision of how this sustainable Bitcoin economy is going to play out? Because earlier you were talking about how this is not just a it's not just a like it's not only going to be ordinals, right? But you said like the Web3 is coming to Bitcoin. What's like, how do you think this is going to play out in your opinion, and sort of paint a picture of what you see in the future?
Yeah, so I guess I'll talk about the short term and the medium term and the long term. So short term, we're seeing just a massive amount of developer energy coming into what I'm just going to coin Bitcoin Web3. Okay, so other use cases than currency on Bitcoin, and you're seeing venture capitalists funding companies, lots of interest from angel investors, lots of interest from developers, and lots of users wanting their problem solved. So a perfect organic kind of ecosystem is starting here. So I think that's everything I'm seeing on that front is very positive, and I'm expecting pretty steady, healthy organic growth for like the coming months here. In the more medium term, I think probably talking about like this bear market that we're in. My guess is like, I think it's a little bit kind of cliche when we talk about, the bear market, bull market, just assuming there's going to be another bull market and we all, 10x or 100x our bags. But I mean, there is a little bit of truth. It's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? And if you look at all the underlying markers on the actual technology, yeah, the price is down in the bear market, but the underlying markers and activity just keeps going up and up. So yeah, I'm expecting, a bull run to happen at some point in the next like few years. And probably that bull run, my guess is a very big aspect to that is that Bitcoin is going to have a lot more use cases than it did in the last bull runs. And that's going to catalyze, what is ultimately a massive amount of capital flowing into the developers to build. So in a bear market, it's great. Like, yes, we're going to have, tens, hopefully hundreds of millions of dollars flow into these companies over the next few months. But, in a bull run, you can capture, literally tens, hundreds of billions of dollars of capital coming in and funding an ecosystem. So I think that's a really, I've just seen that in the last bull runs. Like, that is the benefit of the bull runs. You're just getting massive funding for all these incredible use cases. And I guess in the long term, my goal is, I'm not like specifically a Bitcoin maxi in that like I believe it has to be Bitcoin or anything like this. I pretty much like my like personal goal is that I think human civilization is going to be better off if we move our internet to these, basically I'll just call it sufficiently decentralized protocols for the specific use case. So, for social media, maybe that means Nostr. Maybe that's not even on a blockchain necessarily. that's totally fine. That's sufficiently decentralized and censorship resistant enough for that use case, right? For our financial world, probably, being on a chain like Bitcoin is a very good thing. I'm, again, not completely tied to the fact that Bitcoin is proof of work or Ethereum is proof of stake. I am very much open-minded. These are experiments being run, and I genuinely do not know and cannot tell you for sure how things will play out. My personal investing is very split across these ecosystems. So I am just very excited for some crypto experiment to win out, because I ultimately think we all actually, from all blockchains, have a pretty similar vision for the future. And we need to onboard 1 billion people to a sufficiently decentralized blockchain. And pretty much, we need to catalyze that by building onboarding mechanisms and creating awesome use cases that are going to keep people retained in that in the crypto ecosystem during that time. And I think, ultimately, for several years, the narrative was that's going to be Ethereum and these other chains. And I still think those chains definitely play a role in the future. But Bitcoin is the largest, longest running, most secure, probably just best recognizable brand name in the space. There's a lot going for Bitcoin. And the fact that it was being slept on because of some weird kind of cultural aspects in the Bitcoin community that were, let's just say, pushing developers elsewhere. The fact that that wall has come down now and we're seeing this flood of developer activity, I think Bitcoin is going to play a really big role in the future, not just for the currency use case. And I think that's very exciting that, Bitcoin's back, kind of, in my opinion. I think Bitcoin's a really...
Oh yeah, it's back.
Yeah, it's back. It's back
It's
for the
back
people
Keanu
like
Reeves.
me. Yeah, it's back for the people like me who ultimately, liked the currency use case, but we're excited about all the other leading edge stuff. And that, for the people like me, Bitcoin is definitely back. I don't know about you. I'm sure you're excited that Ordinals have kind of catalyzed this as well.
Yeah, no, I think I think that's a great take on it. I mean, that's the same approach, right? To be open-minded, and in the end, it's just a technology, and different technologies have different purposes.
Yep.
And it's good to remind ourselves that this is all a big social experiment. We really don't know. We don't know, but what we can do is we can build what people need, right?
Agreed.
And I do agree with you. There's got to be some kind of a better balance between centralized and decentralized systems. It's sort of like a pendulum, right? It's definitely too far into the centralized arena right now. But of course, if everything is decentralized, that'd probably be madness as well. So, again, it's a social experiment for us to find where that happy balance is. And and I think Bitcoin is really well positioned for things that people really care about, because it is so far it's the most solid. But as an innovation first person, that doesn't go. I mean, I definitely keep some room in there. There could be some kind of technology that none of us thought about that happens in a few years, right? And it's even right. But for the time being, absolutely, if I'm going to trust a decentralized financial system, I hope it's built on Bitcoin. If the assets I'm playing with or that I have are of higher value, or whoops.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, very nice, because I'm really far away and my internet is a little bit stuck here. Yeah, guys, I just wanted to thank you for your effort and development and stuff like that. I'm a web developer for almost 20 years now, with blockchain development 2020. And I was actually anti-Bitcoin maxi. And when I discovered Ordinals and stumps, that changed immediately. And I just wanted to tell you that I think...
Is this Dr. Suss?
Please?
Is this Dr. Suss?
I don't understand you. I don't get the point.
Oh, okay. It's fine. Sorry. No. No.
I just wanted to thank you guys and to do a small shout out. And I wanted to say that I think a lot of Ethereum developers will come to Bitcoin. And yeah, thank you very much. And thank you for letting me speak.
Yeah, please, if you haven't done so already, sign up to the Bitcoin Olympics hackathon. We'd love to have you participate. And thank you for the encouraging words.
Yeah, I will do that. I will do that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yep, looking forward to seeing you in our Discord. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's get back to this, Leonidas. That was nice. That was nice of our audience to pop in and say a few kind words.
I agree.
So bring it back to open-mindedness and experimenting. Let's back to today, right? Back to today. You mapped out a pretty nice picture of the short run, medium run, and the long run of how the space potentially could develop. Now, where does the Ord.io fit into all this, and how do you see that evolving? And I'm guessing is that between that, your other investments plus the Ordinals show, you're pretty busy, right? Maybe you could also say, when you're building Ord.io, when you're pioneering this space, you're on the front line. Maybe you could share with some of the builders out there who are part of this hackathon. What are things that you wish, if you had more time, that you could build before the next Bitcoin halving? So where's Ord.io to this, and then by building Ord.io and being in this space, what are those insights that you've seen, like your wish list items to be built?
Totally. So yeah, I mean, as far as Ord.io, I guess, I'm juggling a couple things. So it's just me and my friend Zach, and like Zach has a full-time job, and I probably spend way too much time on Twitter. So between my different things, it's kind of like right now it's it's just a fun thing that we're doing, right? And it's truly unknown exactly the direction we're going to take it in. My intuition is telling me like, don't take it into a financial product. I think there's just really interesting things about inscriptions and storing content on Bitcoin that deserves its own user experience, right? Not everything needs to have a price tag on it. So that's where I'm thinking about that. As far as like the, in product, I think, ultimately this is just, I guess, a little commentary for people listening. Pretty much in Web 2, like in the internet and Web 1, the internet was, you go to websites, you click around, you can go to your email, this is the internet, right? And in Web 2, pretty much the internet turned into this like social web app experience, which, has been replicated 1,000 times across. It has clear product market fit. Social media is the way people are mostly experiencing the internet. They like to scroll through an algorithmic data feed, and they like to receive, the most interesting things on the internet that are happening. They want to see at the top of their feed, right? This is the curated kind of experience that the internet is in currently at the moment. And there's a social graph where they follow people and they can message people in this app. And, this is just a very clear template for a product that has very clear product market fit in Web 2. And I think in Web 3, what I see a lot of people doing is they're really focused on the use case that they're building, but just not, to me, user experience is like pretty much 99% of the game, right? I've seen so many extremely talented developers build some incredible innovation, and then they don't know how to bring that to the average person on crypto Twitter in such a way that they will care or even understand how to use it. And so yeah, with Ord.io, I'm very much looking at the user experience that has worked extremely well and that we know users like. Web3 is not a revolution in visualization technology or user experience. It's just about changing the protocols on the back end. So I'm not trying to innovate and create some rapidly changing new user interface that's 3D or something crazy, right? It's really taking the user experiences that have like very clear product market fit in Web 2 and making it so that people can use Web3 protocols in a way that's intuitive to them, that they understand. So that's the approach we're taking with Ord.io. And I mean, that's very much the approach I would encourage people to take. There's other Web3 products, like with Bitcoin, the Cash App user experience, I would say, is like a really solid user experience for, interacting with the Bitcoin protocol. We need more experiences that are very approachable and not intimidating. And I would put 98% of Bitcoin or Ethereum products in the protocol of being not approachable to most people, right? So yeah, we need to really focus on user experience. And basically the way Steve Jobs does it is how you have to do it. You create you craft user experience, and you just iterate a lot of times. So you go back with your developer, you're talking to users, you're iterating, and eventually you'll end up with a very refined, polished user experience based on how people are actually using that product end to end. And we need to do a lot more of this when we're building in Web3 stuff, right? This is a huge kind of, I'll just say, like, bottleneck for the space right now. Okay, yeah. So the second question was dream ideas. So as I mentioned, I think people are doing a pretty good job of tackling financial use cases right now. There's this kind of clear template of financial use cases for NFTs. You need wallets, you need marketplaces, you need minting tools. People are building this for Ordinals right now. If we're talking specifically about NFTs, I think there's just interesting products that can be made that are not necessarily financial. So SBTs are a really interesting concept. It's essentially an NFT that just is glued to your wallet forever, right? It's not transferable, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter who how much you can sell it for, because you can't sell it. It's not transferable. So there's interesting things you can do there around identity. There's interesting things you can do. Like, think about the wallet address. Like, that is almost your identity. You're building this identity on chain. Ethereum's done a great job with the Ethereum name service protocol and the PFP kind of movement to create a face and a name for all Ethereum users. Like, Bitcoin needs that identity for Bitcoin users, in my opinion. And I think once you have that kind of core primitive of an identity, you can start to build messaging protocols between these users. You can start to build a social graph with relationships between these users. These are all protocols that do not exist, that I am 100% sure will exist in 10 or 15 years from now. So I would encourage just some early experiments in these areas that, people, like in Web 2, they want to follow each other. They want to message each other. They want to do all these things that are very core to the internet experience. And if we're truly going to build a new internet here on these Web3 protocols, like, they're going to want these similar experiences and these similar use cases. And it doesn't necessarily just revolve around, hey, I want to buy this so that it'll go up over time. Like, that's a great use case that's onboarded a massive amount of people to crypto, but that isn't why people are going to stay here and actually use the Web3 internet every single day. They're going to want to actually do the things that they do on Web 2. So I would think of cool things, cool products in Web 2. I think it's really fun to think about how would that look in Web 3, right? What protocols would you use? Maybe Bitcoin layer 1 isn't the perfect protocol for that. Maybe you need to use Lightning Network, right? There's Stacks, there's Nostr, there's the Ordinals protocol. There's all these interesting protocols that you can use and try to craft experiences for products that you think, you have a hunch might be interesting to people in Web 3. And all you can really do is run that experiment and build that MVP and get feedback from users and see if there's something interesting there or not.
No, that's super insightful. I mean, I love how you really stress on the point, really underscore on the point of user experience. It is about user experience. And actually, a lot of the user experience, like you said, has already proven to work on Web 2, right? It's just the Web 3, the backend, right, is an innovation. But now we got to merge it too. We have to merge it too. And SBT on Bitcoin, wow, that is probably going to be a massive opportunity. I'd love to see somebody to start hacking away at that. Now, maybe we don't have to wait, 10 to 15 years. Maybe because
that's the goal, Albert. That's what this is about. I think it would be really lame if we had to wait 10 years for SBTs on Bitcoin. I want to see at least one team tackling SBTs on Bitcoin in this hackathon.
No, I think that's a great one. I think that's definitely, I hope to see that before next Bitcoin halving. I mean, whoever starts, like you said, is exploring, right? Exploring and merging different technologies and different fields of knowledge together, right? To create something that's absolutely more valuable, right? For users on a user experience level. Yeah. And whoever starts experimenting now is going to have a huge advantage 12 months from now, because right now, I mean, already investors are warming up to Bitcoin again. Even the economy is rocky. People are still investing, but imagine 1 year from now at the Bitcoin halving. If whoever prepares for this now wow, is it will be sitting pretty 1 year from now. So, thank you for those inspirational words, Leonidas. Unfortunately, we're running up on time. We only have 1 more minute left. If I understand correctly, you're going to come on again next week, correct? To
That
help
is
people.
correct. I will be back.
It's going to be awesome. We're going to help people. Today was an inspirational talk, guys, to the audience. On Tuesday, Leonidas is we're gonna get down to earth and start building, right? So this is super exciting. Again, thank you for supporting us at the Bitcoin Olympics hackathon, and looking forward to next week.
Really honored to have been able to talk here, Albert, and love what you're doing. I'm very excited to see what people work on.
Yeah, likewise. Let's keep it going, man. We're in this together. We have to build I mean, maybe it's not even a sustainable Bitcoin economy. It's like a sustainable, like decentralized and centralized, balanced economy together.
Yeah, I mean, Web3, for better or for worse, is the term that kind of captures that, and that's how I think about it. And I think we got to upgrade. We got to upgrade the internet.
Yeah, let's build the sustainable Web3 economy together. Thank you.
Awesome. Bye.
Talk soon.